Hello and welcome to more to make a game. That's right, that's what I'm doing today. I've been having so much trouble with these stupid XCOM videos. They're way too long. That's kind of the problem. So I'll have to I'm gonna do to make a game, the XCOM video, and a System Shock, and I'll just upload them tonight or something. And yeah. Anyway, that's not what we're here for. We are here for me turning off the freaking FPS counter and showing you what's up in the game today. This week I actually made some pretty good progress. You'll notice that, well, not much has changed here, but I got some extra stuff down here. And that's actually a smidge louder than I wanted. There we go. I mean, I can turn it down in post, but it's getting in the way of me thinking. Well, I think the best thing to do is to just show you some of the changes. If I, just push play. Now, first thing, you'll notice the cursor's gone. I have it captured to the screen. WASD movement is the same as it has been, although I tweaked it a bit so that the new scripts and stuff would work. For the moment, ignore Chatty McCylinder there. I will explain him in a minute. The first thing I did was I got tab targeting working. You can now cycle through your targets. It's not based on range, which just starts cycling, which I think is fine, because obviously you're looking for a specific target at this point. As soon as you move away and the number of stuff in your reach changes, it automatically goes back to nearest targeting. Just the way that works right now. The second thing that I did was I got... when you walk up to something and you hit E, it unlocks the mouse and you can no longer move, and you get your little selection screen. So currently the only button that works is look. I have no idea if I'm going to keep this kind of functionality or if it's just how I'm going to actually have this work. But for the moment, hold on. I kind of use the timeline in the Audacity there for length of the video. Hey, stop being in the corner. Basically, you can now look at stuff. And yeah, it creates a chat box above the player's head or whoever is talking, which is what this cube over here is doing. Basically, this was the big thing that I was working on, was getting these floating chat windows to work correctly. They were unusually difficult because of the way that Unity handles the GUI system. In fact, there's still a little bug there. You'll notice if you're paying really close attention, whenever it shifts, there's this. It defaults to this big square and then snaps to what it's supposed to be. Which I also can fix later after I figure it out, I suppose. I just need to tweak some stuff around with the way that it works. I also kind of need to put in a late update cycle or something, because it kind of slides slightly different than the camera angle. So I think I need to put it late so that it's executed after the camera updates placed. I don't know. But regardless, it is working. It's working pretty well, actually. Yeah, the problem that I ran into is there's actually 3 locations involved. The first one is the location of the object, which is roughly in the middle. And that's in 3D space. So it's got an X, a Y, and a Z. But it's the ones that are local to the object. There's a command that you can run, which, let me get my script up, which I didn't have prepared. Actually, in all honesty, it's not prepared because I was just recording this and my computer crashed. I don't know why my computer crashed, but it did, and that's annoying. But, here we go. So yeah, this is the script that creates my chat boxes. There's actually some stuff that I can clean up, because I don't need this line anymore, and I could probably comment in here a little better as to what's going on and that kind of thing. But I think there's a couple of these I don't need anymore too, because it took me forever to figure this out. But the key things to get this to work was this right here, the world to screen point thing. This is one of the Unity functions. It takes the world coordinates and converts it to a screen point. The problem, the screen point assumes that this corner of the screen is 0. So 0, 0 would put it here. But the GUI system says up here it's 0, 0. And then when you create a GUI element, it assumes that the top corner is what you're putting in. So basically, I had chat boxes forever that instead of actually anchoring at the top of the head of the object like they are now, they were anchoring like above the character, but if I moved away, they actually floated up into the sky. And if you got closer, it actually like started clipping into their heads. So I had to solve that. And what I ended up doing was, this is going to get a little technical, but I figure if anybody ever wants to figure this out, I mean, I couldn't find anybody who explained this particular bit explicitly. So what I ended up doing was temp position here contains the location of whoever's talking. So this is going to be the modified one. Speaker location is who's talking, so I get his position, and I add on the offset Y. Offset Y is actually determined here. And it is determined from, I have to send it over from the other thing, but basically it's the height of the mesh in Unity's measurement divided by 2, because the scaling point is in the middle of the object, plus 0.5, which puts it 0.5 above the head as the target point. And then you have to take, so you add that in with the vector to actually put the position target above the head. Then you convert the temp position to using the world screen point. Then this is just so that it only shows up when the camera is looking at it. Otherwise, it shows up on screen even when the target's behind you. I'm not sure if I want to have like the text showing up at the corners of the screen or the sides or something, but that's something I can work out later. So just basically, as long as if it's positive, whoops. If this z coordinate is positive, it's in front. If it's negative, it's behind. But dialog position equals, yeah. This is just the width of the box. That's a completely different function where I determine how many lines the text will take up in the box, so that I can set the diameters on things to the correct numbers. And then right here, it's the screen height minus the conversion, which puts it so that like the top edge would be directly above the head, and then you subtract from that the actual height of the box, so then it shifts it up. And yeah, finally I got it working. But that's something that had me stumped for well, basically most of yesterday. It was frustrating. And then this morning I was taking a shower and everything suddenly clicked, and it's like, oh duh, let's try this, and it worked. And yes, So that's that. Now the other thing that I have over here is just this guy. He's it's a specific script that I put together just for well, it's called the chatter driver. Basically, he just goes through. Let me get his thing here. He has an array, which is the chat array, attached to it. You set that to any size you want, and you put in what you want him to say, and you say how much of a delay and how much of a randomization you want on the chat. And he will just work his way through the array. So if you increase that, he'll pause longer between saying things. The random is just a random element on the amount of delay that he can take. So yeah, I mean, that works really well and it's really simple. It's similar to how I have the look set up, because look text, same kind of concept. I just have an array and it just works its way through the look text and just cycles through it, so it just loops back. So if I walk up to the circle here and hit E, I can just look at it and it says, this is a box. No, wait, it's a circle. Oh, who cares? It's just placeholder text. Yeah. But currently I don't have anything on this box here. Yeah, and it'll go away after a second there. And yeah, because I don't have anything attached to it, it just spits out a text print here, which says no look text. Which is not exactly the most in-depth set of information, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, if you want to add anything, you just say, give this one 2 entries, and you say, it says, this is a box. And then you have him say, it is really gray. I don't know why you bother looking at it. Or whatever you want it to say. And then you walk up and it goes blink, look. And he just, says what he wants to. Now, see right here, this is something that I was wondering about, and yeah, notice how it gets kind of chopped off there. There's a few issues yet with it. I haven't quite finished getting it to work, but for the most part, it is. Actually, I think I could fix that. Let me... specifically... that has to do with size box. Because I have it, you just use mathf.round, and it rounds up or down. I just want it to round up. I'm not quite sure how to do that. Round. I'll have to look up some commands for that one, actually. Actually, I can show you how I do this stuff. Let's see here. Unity. Round up always. Well, that's not useful. Just talking about books on scripting Unity. No, yeah. I don't know. I'll figure it out later. It's not that big a deal. I mean, if I just did like +1, it would always like have an extra space on the bottom, which you'll see. I mean, it just makes it slightly taller and it doesn't quite work. No, it's you. Yeah, but so you can now like see the top of that. I'll just do this for the moment. I'll figure out how to fix it later. Okay, that could also be just... Okay, now I'm just being stupid. But yeah, this is basically how I code. I basically say, okay, I think this will work, and then it explodes on me, and I say, okay, it doesn't work. What else can we try? And carry on. It's not exactly thrilling, which is why I don't like record me trying to program. It's kind of a slow, tedious, and probably makes people who know what they're doing flinch all the time. Ah, well. But yeah, I mean, that's what I've got going so far. I've been actually thinking about the conversation system, and it kind of came down to two things. It's like, I can do simple, straight line conversations like this really easy. I'm sure I can set up a system where you can actually like tag the name of who's talking. You can have like 3 or 4 people talking out of one array of strings, or even like one giant string if it really came down to that. I'm not sure I'd want to do that though, because it'd be a nightmare to organize. Part of the idea is that I want to actually be able to like simply like plug in the hotspot controller, tag what it can do, put in some text, and be done. I don't want to have to like attach all sorts of scripts and interlocks and code things, and yeah, that'd be a mess. So I've actually been thinking about it, and I don't think I'm actually going to do a huge dialogue system. Mostly because, well, one, it would be a nightmare of mesh of like ifs and thens and yeah, it's like I've got some ideas on how to get it to work, but all of them involve having either nested arrays or something along those lines that's basically difficult to actually work within Unity to make it easy to do. Would have to like parse text files to get the dialogue to feed them into the nested arrays or something, or just have separate arrays for every conversation, or separate scripts for every single conversation, which just seems horribly impractical. But then I started thinking, how much would I actually use an in-depth conversation thing? And I'm going for more of an action game type of setup, so do I really want people to be standing around talking to everything in massive things? It's like, I'll probably do like a mini conversation tree at some point, but it's not a huge priority, actually. I think I can do just fine without it as far as my storytelling goes. So dialogue tree I'm going to replace with question marks, because I may just eliminate that. Hotspots are in progress. Got some interesting stuff going on there. I'm still trying to decide on levels of interaction. Most of the stuff down here, aside from the menu. Although the menu, I can actually put that together pretty quick right now. I'm just not with the save and the load actual systems. Binding keys actually doesn't need to be in there because key binding is already part of Unity's game launcher for the standalones, so it won't be that big a deal, actually. Video options are all in the launcher, unless I somehow put in like level of depth toggles or something, but that would just be... I don't know how necessary it'll be. Audio level controls I will definitely put in at some point, but those are like a must. But anyway, I'm not sure. Either don't know exactly how to go about them, or I need parts to do it. It's like there's no way to really put in audio level controls when I don't have any audio yet to test it with. So, nuts to that. So I guess the next thing I'm going to work on is the inventory and items. Because I need to have the inventory and the items working before I can use get the ability to give the player items from hotspots. I mean, they could do the flavor text. Indicator when targeted is done. Can detect that the player is close enough to use is done. Can remove self from screen or from scene. That is actually really easy to do, so I'm not too concerned with that one. Modular? So far they are. And they can interact with it in some way. That one I still need to kind of figure out. I have some ideas on how to get the player to be able to, say, use a hotspot and have it trigger a script from another file, which is just using a string and the I forgot what it's called, but there's an execute command that allows you to pass a string as a function name. So I can just say for any custom stuff, I can just have it, or have the hotspot trip those custom commands, and boom, done. So, yeah, inventory is next week's main project, aside from cleaning up a few of the remaining quibbles with the dialogue, with the little dialogue windows and stuff like that. But so far, I'm actually making pretty good progress. I mean, once I have inventory and items in place, I can get the map change triggers, the damage tracking, and the pathfinding built in so that I can have some like basic monsters moving around or something. Then I have like all the little pieces, and I can actually like step back and actually start working on like visual design, because a lot of these things need to be tweaked, but they need to be tweaked in a direction of it's like the dialogue system. There's a lot of stuff that need to be changed, but how they get changed depends on how the dialogue is going to actually be displayed on screen. I can't do the animation manager until I have animation to manage. I can't do the lip syncing system until I have lip syncing to manage. That kind of thing. So, yeah, I'm going to focus on getting the inventory and items in game. And we'll go from there. But honestly, I think I'm actually pretty happy with my progress so far. I mean, for the most part, things are working, and the frame rate... I am running a pretty decent computer, but the frame rate hasn't taken any major dips. It's a solid 60, according to Fraps. We'll see what happens when I actually start importing graphics and things, but so far so good. I guess that about wraps things up for today. There's not much else to talk about. I mean, I've already done discussed how I code and the important sites and all that fun stuff. So, until next time, then. Tolka out. Oh, and please feel free to comment. So far, the only one who's really done any commenting is... I had this prepared before my computer crashed. What's your name? I cannot pronounce your name. Is that Stein Olmi? Stenolmi? Stenolma? If you could tell me how to pronounce your name, that would be convenient in the future. Just for record on that. I have no idea. But I really appreciate the comments, and feel free to do so. But oh, that reminds me. He pointed out something about my targeting, and that is you probably shouldn't be able to target things that are behind the player, and he is right. It's like, why would I be able to interact with the box? It is currently staring at the black box's ass, although it's kind of hard to tell because it's a box. Yet I can look at it. So I need to come up with some way of doing a directional check. There's basically a whole ton of little things that need to be done, and it's almost mind-boggling the number of them. But I've been plugging away at them, and things seem to be clicking into place, and it's nice to see. Anyway, I am out of here. Thank you for watching, and Tolka out. Oh, just wanted to add in one more thing, since I just figured out how to do it tonight. Don't want to leave things really silly there. To fix the text thing, the rounding that I tried to in the video, it's actually pretty simple. Just walk up here and look at this. See, it works now, and I just needed to change round to this command. Seal to int. Always rounds up to the highest number, or closest integer. If it is a decimal, it rounds up. There's a similar one that is floor to int. Same concept, except it always rounds down. That's it. I got it off of the Unity script reference site, which I have since closed because I'm a fool. But yeah, I mean, that's all it is. Anyway, peace.